All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So in this video, we got a lot to talk about. Okay, we're gonna talk about crypto regulations and why the regulators are coming for this space. They're just like licking their chops, ready to, start overseeing what we're doing here in crypto land. So why nobody's safe from that? Okay, we're looking at a lot of other news updates that have happened in this space since yesterday. Check out the cryptocurrency markets, answer some of your questions, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, last but not least, I think I'm sending this video is not financial advice, and there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them, like I'll never give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. All right, so we got people in the chat here. Let's see, we got, so let me just fix this here. Something's wrong with my live stream software. I'm a little distracted right now. Can y'all hear me okay? You see me okay? Everything good? Stream? Should make sure there's no showstoppers before we get going here. All good? Awesome. Okay. So we got people jumping in the chat here. We've got Automatic Beats, David Stone, Code Chat, Francis, Lee, MCA, Iota, Ritten, Troy, Clarence, Just Kaz, Josh. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know I skipped over a couple names in there, but that'll get us started for today. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. All right, we got a lot to talk about, a lot of news to check on. But the first thing I want to talk about is actually piecing together several different pieces of news that I've consumed over the past few days and sort of connecting the dots. And that's one thing I want to help you all do on this channel is, ultimately I want to help you all understand, how this space works, how the technology itself works, so you can form your own educated opinion. You can learn to think for yourself. But especially if you're brand new, sometimes it's hard to connect those dots. And the news isn't a very good job at connecting those dots either. So that's what I want to try to help you do a little bit. So a couple different, pieces of news I want to talk about here revolve around crypto regulations. And not everything looks like that on the surface. But so one of those DeFi exploits totaling $680 million so far in 2021. That's a lot of money. We're pushing $1 billion. We could very well be at $1 billion by the end of 2021. You could think about it as like black market. DeFi exploits is now a $1 billion cottage industry. I know it's like, kind of laugh at it a little bit because it's funny in one sense. It's not funny in other sense. People who have lost funds for sure. Hope you can kind of bear with my slightly twisted sense of humor there. So the other is this. So DeFi, the wild west of crypto, is next on regulators' hit list. Okay, so we talked about how the regulators are coming for crypto. And, quite a bit on this channel, why I think it's very likely that we'll see, some crypto regulations relatively soon on the grand scheme of things. We're already starting to see it, especially with the, bill that was, the infrastructure bill that was being formed in the United States with the, basically turning everybody in crypto as a broker, right? Now that was bad regulation, but we need good regulation. But, DeFi definitely seems to be one of the next big items in their crosshairs, and you might be thinking like, hey, I don't really use DeFi. I don't yield farm. I don't trade on a DEX. Maybe I just hold cryptocurrency, maybe some stable coins, whatever it is. You may not, there are definitely ways that you may not be able to escape this. Okay, that's why I say like nobody's safe. So let's kind of connect the dots. But let's look at some of this here first. So, DeFi exploits total $680 million. That's definitely going to raise some flags for people who think, hey, especially when you hear a lot of regulators say, we're going to do this for your protection, all right? I think some people in the regulatory bodies sincerely have the desire to keep people from harm, right? I do think that desire to protect you can also be exploited by people who, lust after power, I'll put it that way. To be twisted to a different end. But anyways, but yeah, we can see this cumulative graph over time. Ever since the DeFi boom took off, you can see this just absolutely go up like crazy. Of course, it's a cumulative graph, so it doesn't go down. But yeah, you can see this. Of the attacks, 34 of them were employed by flash loans. That's another conversation for another day. Some people wonder, are flash loans a net positive for the space? I actually think they're a good thing. But we can see lots. So, anyways, basically, this is going to raise a lot of red flags for people who are trying to, regulate. And it does seem like DeFi is the next thing on the list here. So we've seen after a crackdown on Binance and other cryptocurrency firms, regulators are now turning attention to the world of decentralized finance. DeFi, everybody knows DeFi here is probably, if you're watching this video, but if not, lets users take part in traditional financial activities like lending with no middlemen involved. That's basically the core of DeFi, taking traditional financial products and moving them on the blockchain, things like savings, lending, trading, also creating new things that don't exist in the traditional finance world. So basically, regulators are concerned about DeFi services marketing themselves as decentralized when that may not be the case. All right. So let's kind of connect the dots here. So, let's talk about regulating cryptocurrencies and like DeFi versus banning them outright. Okay. We've seen outright cryptocurrency bans by certain countries. Okay. We've not seen anything like that in the United States. We've seen lots of statements that people say they don't intend to ban cryptocurrencies by any stretch of the imagination. We've seen official statements like that. We've seen, kind of rumors or like, unofficial statements, I should say. So let's talk about this. So you typically don't ban something that you intend to regulate, all right? And the whole benefit of regulating something is to get it under your control, or at least, make it look like it's in your control. And then the next sort of step on that is you don't intend to ban something and you put regulations in it and then you levy taxes on it. That's really the next big thing. And then you levy new taxes. So, of course, people pay income tax on crypto, or you're supposed to at least, based on your gains, at least in the United States. But let's talk about ways that, you may not be able to escape this, or you might be extremely limited in crypto based on these types of regulations. So, one way that you could potentially suffer from regulation of DeFi, even if you don't yield farm, all that type of stuff, is with stable coins, okay? And I actually saw this floating around online somewhere a couple days ago, so this is not my original idea. I can't really remember the source. I wish I could off the top of my head. If somebody remembers it, feel free to put a link down the live chat replay or the comment section wherever you're watching this video. But basically, here's one pattern that could hamstring a lot of DeFi with regulators. So essentially, let's say that you're using a stable coin, okay? You're doing DeFi technically at that point, USDC, for example. And let's say that every time you send that stable coin, they now inflict a 1% tax on the transfer of that stable coin. Okay. Now, you might argue that, well, you got to prove that you're a U.S. citizen, all that type of stuff. But what happens if basically, we have USDC. It's an upgradable smart contract that can have new business logic put into place to implement those types of things. And so whole idea is if you use that, we're going to tax you. And the whole idea is, then when people stop using it, start using different stablecoin. Well, what happens if this starts being implemented in lots of stablecoins? Well, the alternative is to push you into central bank digital currencies. Okay, so you can use central bank digital currencies for free, but then you're using a central bank digital currency, something that's basically just designed to track you and have more granular control over your financial activities. Okay, so that seems to be like a possible, path. 10% of China's population have open digital yuan wallets per People's Bank of China official. I think the central bank digital currencies are an inevitability at this point across especially major Western countries. Not just Western countries, but particularly Western countries. I think probably United States. So that seems to be like a logical path of getting there. Impose regulations, levy taxes, make it harder to use DeFi in a compliant way, and make the better alternative to use their thing. Most people who aren't discerning are just going to do that because they want to save money. It's just like using a sketchy blockchain because the fees are cheaper. What happens if it goes down? Same type of logic, okay? So, last thing I'll say about this is basically, if you're in crypto now, and especially if you're new, don't take for granted like the opportunity that's on the table right now, because you might look back on this period in 2 years, 5 years, even maybe 1 year, and think that, hey, this was this time right now and the years before, but you may not have been here the years before, are like the good old days, maybe like a golden era of crypto when regulations were basically non-existent or light, when the gains were relatively easy on the grand scheme of things, because I don't think crypto gains will be this easy forever. Okay. So yeah, think about that. Think about your strategy for the future. How can you future-proof it based on this potential regulatory uncertainty? It's crazy. So this says flash loan me a mil. I'll split it with you. You flash loan yourself a mil. It's pretty easy. Okay, so let's go ahead and check on the crypto markets here. All right, so not much has changed, other than Solana seeing some pretty significant gains the past 7 days. Popped up to the number 4 spot here. Let's see. Could definitely see this flipping Binance coin at some point. In terms of like other majors like Bitcoin, ETH, you know, I'm still considering these market leaders. Bitcoin is still a market leader in my opinion. ETH just right there behind it. I mean, I think a lot of the same I've been saying over the past week or so is about the same. So I think a lot of what we're seeing is resistance at these all-time high levels. This does not seem like an incredibly bearish thing or anything like that, where like it'd be bearish if we went and touched these and we saw a massive, dump right after it because it didn't break all-time high. Of course, you could say this is just getting tired and that dump is yet to come, maybe. But I think overall we're still in positive trend, especially for the overall crypto market cap, especially for Bitcoin and Ether and others. Okay, so not a huge update in the crypto prices. It's just a little bit boring right now. But I say it's boring, but if you've been holding on to any of these cryptocurrencies for a while, like a lot of them are just chilling at their previous all-time high levels. Like this is actually a really good thing because this means that you have a stronger base to reach higher price levels, because what you have right now is a stronger holder base who's not just going to dump their coins and panic sell at these price levels, right? So that helps keep the price it gives you a better foundation so you can make higher highs. Okay, so another interesting thing that I saw pop up yesterday, and I think some of these statistics need a little bit of clarification, even the tweets say this, but so 4% of people in the USA, and that's a caveat here, he kind of corrected himself in the comment section, have quit their jobs because of crypto gains, and a vast majority made under $50,000. I'm assuming it means $50,000 per year at their job. Now we know why so many people quit low-paying jobs. Yeah, I think that stands to reason. And this was before the current run-up. Okay, so he's saying, correction, I should have said 4% of labor force, or approximately 6 million people. I've also seen people tweeting this statistic around saying it's 4% of people who quit their jobs did it because of crypto. So you could say that. Yeah, there's 3 different interpretations. 4% of people in the United States quit their jobs and it's because of crypto. Or 4% of the labor force quit their jobs because of crypto. Or take all the people who quit their jobs and 4% of those people did it because of crypto. Either way, a very large percentage of people, a large number of people left the workforce due to crypto. So if that's you in the comment section below, let us know. We'll congratulate you. So Galaxy Sector says, I quit working. I'm proof of that. Awesome. Somebody says, so crypto is causing a labor shortage. I think it is the factor. I'm like, no joke. I don't think it's like the only factor. I think there's lots and lots of factors, but let's say it is 4% of the labor force. That's a significant impact on the labor force. I mean, think about how we calculate unemployment. You know what I mean? Like a 4% change is not 4% change, but like the employment. If like single percentage point changes in unemployment rate is significant, and I don't mean like single percentage in like 4% going up by 1% being a fraction of a move towards 5%. I mean like 4% employment to 5% employment to 6%. Like those 1% jumps. You do several of those. If unemployment went from 5% to 9%, that would be significant. How long do you think crypto gains are going to play out until regulations come out? I don't know. Somebody says, I plan to make 6 figures in 2022 at 18. Awesome. I hope you do. I will say, if you do that at 18 years old, though, you might feel like massively rich. And depending on where you live, you know, you might be doing pretty well at 18 years old. But I'll just say, you know, if you're in America or you're in many places in like Europe or Canada or something like that, I would enjoy some of that for sure, but don't just go blow it all on stuff. Highly recommend that. Take some of that, reinvest back into yourself, and create something sustainable for yourself for the long term. Highly recommend investing in skills that can help you do that, because let's say you make 6 figures off crypto, you know, and you're 18. Well, I would highly recommend taking some of that, buy yourself some time and also some education to learn high value skill. You don't need to go back to college. You know, you can basically learn technical skills. If you figured out how to do that in crypto, you're probably you know, barking up the right tree, and you can work in crypto and get the technical skills, and you can make that every single year or more. Because here's the thing. If we go into a bear market, you did pretty well. You know, if you ended up accomplishing your goal, you did pretty well as an 18-year-old, pretty new, making 6 figures, maybe off trading. But it's a lot easier to do that in a bull market than it is in a bear market. I'll put it that way. If you're 18, you probably haven't experienced one yet. And let's just say you'd be pretty glad you got a high income in a bear market rather than having to trade your way through the whole thing. Somebody says, wish I could learn coding. Just try. You probably can. I don't try to pretend like coding is for everybody, okay? But if you're watching this channel, you're interested in crypto, there's a high likelihood that you could. You just have to have a reason why you want to do it. You know, it's not for everybody, but, you know, other people who be watching this video is a way higher likelihood that you would be able to. Somebody says ETH2 is supposed to come out 2 years ago. So I know ETH2 is notorious for getting pushed back and delayed. I mean, I think some of that criticism is warranted. I think some of the initial vision of ETH 2.0, in terms of the timeline, not in terms of the capabilities of the technology in and of itself, was a little too ambitious, I'll put it that way. Maybe a little out of touch with reality and how long it would take to create something like that. I think that's warranted criticism, you know what I mean? But that being said, what are you going to do about it? Like, what's your alternative? What else are you going to use that's as decentralized, that has a decentralized development ethos? You know, you don't really have any other option but to wait. So it keeps getting pushed back. I think we'll see a merge Yeah, it's hard to know when the merger is going to happen for sure. I'm going to go out on conservative limb and say within a year. I think it'll be much sooner than that, but if you want sort of a high degree of confidence, I'd say within a year. Do I think a bear market is coming in 2022? It depends on what happens to cryptocurrency prices over the next 2 to 6 months. Part of it depends on the pace that the price increases. If we continue on the current trajectory we've been on over the past several months, where crypto kind of just has this sort of like gentle undulation, okay, and maybe like the net gain of the trend is only like a 2x over the next 6 months, I don't necessarily know that there'd be a reason for a bear market, okay? So there's a couple of different opinions on this, okay? So I'll just kind of show you. Let's pull up a chart here. So I'll do it this way. So I'll repeat my long-term investment thesis for cryptocurrencies. I say this in almost every video, but I'll repeat it. There's actually a tweet that talked about yesterday about repeating things, and people who talk about crypto are like, man, I feel like I'm repeating myself all the time, but I think it's really important for you all to solidify yourself and reinforce it, and there's always different people watching these videos, so if you watch these videos every single day and you're sick and tired of me repeating the same things, sorry. But anyways, so my whole long-term investment thesis is essentially crypto. The thing I'm most interested in is about creating technology that has real benefits that you can't get somewhere else, okay? The kind of is like the in it for the tech meme, and that's sort of like, to say I'm not here for the money or anything like that in terms of crypto gains. So it's like you can be both, okay? So here's why the technical technical thing is so important to me. One, I like technology, but number two, it's what actually supports fundamental demand for the cryptocurrencies themselves and supports fundamental price appreciation long term, which turns into money, okay? So basically, the whole idea is as you create technology that has benefits you can't get somewhere else, that creates demand for the technology, and the more demand that there is, the more people use it, all right? And if you value these cryptocurrencies based on network effects like Metcalfe's law, then insofar as the cryptocurrency is actually integrated into those technologies in an inextricable way, that the value of that demand can accrue to the cryptocurrencies themselves. And so as you see adoption taking off with blockchains, then the price basically follows. That's kind of a way of summarizing it, but that's why. That's why the price follows the adoption over time. So the reason I'm laying this out is somebody's asking me in the chat, it's like, hey, do you think we're going to see a bear market? So let's reason through it. Like I said, one of the reasons I make this video is to help you all think for yourself and connect the dots and think why I think some things. I mean, a lot of crypto channels are bad about just saying, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, but I don't ever tell you why. A lot of times they're just repeating what somebody else said. They can't really actually think through it themselves, or they're just making it up. But, so like, there's two possible scenarios in my mind, okay? One is that we are in some sort of like crypto super cycle where essentially crypto adoption is starting to take off and it's not really slowing down anytime soon. And that's essentially what's going to happen to the crypto markets, and that this is our last cycle. And then we're not going to see these crazy bear markets, boom and bust cycles, okay? Like part of me wants to lean that direction, all right? Because if you take my thesis where you're creating technology that has these benefits and the values of cryptocurrencies themselves, and we're seeing a super cycle in adoption, it would stand to reason that the prices would essentially follow that, okay? That's sort of the base case. Now, here's the caveat. Okay, this is a really important caveat. That does not account for bubbles, all right? So you can see basically that reflected in the prices here. Like if you look at this past year and the Ether price, you kind of see this general trend, all right, going upward here. Like if you were to look at the logarithmic scale, you could kind of draw like a straight line through some of this. Or if you look at linear scale, you could draw like a clear parabola through here. That parabola or that shape essentially is mirroring the adoption that I'm talking about, but that doesn't account for bubbles, which this right here, in my opinion, this is a bubble relative to this trend, okay? And when that bubble happens, it causes a big correction because the market is reflexive. Whenever it goes up really fast, it goes down really fast. So that's the other side of this, is what happens in 2022. It depends on what happens to the overall prices. If we see a massive bubble where the prices double, triple in a really short amount of time, the market's reflexive and it's going to correct hard. And because the market's reflexive, we'll likely see a bear market. Okay, so my base case is that we're in an adoption supercycle. We have the fundamentals in place to create a cryptocurrency supercycle, but if a massive bubble happens along the way, it's really going to mess things up for a while. That's how I feel. Okay. So that's why I say basically I'm going to wait and see what happens with the price because nobody knows for sure. Markets kind of have a mind of their own. Typically when everybody thinks it's going to go a certain way, it doesn't tend to go that way. So part of one of the reasons I'll do these live streams is kind of sit back and watch the fireworks go off and try to interpret what's happening in real time. That's the best you can do. You can start off with a thesis, but you always have to update that thesis based in light of new convincing information. And part of it's always looking for things to, basically prove yourself wrong. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to just stick to your original thing if you're going to be wrong, and being wrong costs you a lot. You incentivize to be right. Somebody says smart holding ETH. Yes, I think so. Somebody says super cycle not likely. Don't think it's super cycle. I mean, we're in an adoption super cycle. We don't know if the prices are going to do that, though. Somebody thinks I'm a closet Dogecoin holder. No, I don't hold Dogecoin. I'm not saying I never will. I just don't presently hold it. Somebody says we are in a money printing super cycle. That is a factor. I mean, look what's going on with real estate prices. Everybody thinks the real estate prices are disconnected from reality, but truth is there's some actual structural things that really impact that. We still have a shortage in many metro areas of housing. We have supply chain issues that are not helping fix that shortage anytime soon. And we have this environment of easy money in terms of, loose monetary policy, money printing. And so that transfers over to crypto. Okay. So that's another reason why we could see, the adoption I'm talking about. Suppose the supply chain shortage doesn't make sense. We are more efficient than we've ever been in history. I mean, I'm no expert in global supply chain. Looking at a lot of data points that seem to suggest that. Personal experience, of course, that's anecdotal. It's not enough to justify understanding a massive global trend like that, but I don't have a good reason to think that's not happening. Okay, so We'll go ahead and wrap it up here for today. Last thing, don't forget, we're going to do the NFT Masterclass tonight. So sign up with the link down below if you haven't held your spot today. Inside, we're going to show you how to create a generative NFT project from scratch, like a minting event, all that type of stuff. How to create the artwork, even if you're not an artist. How to, create the smart contracts on the website, even if you're not an advanced coder. Okay, just sign up with the link down below to hold your spot today. We're going to do an NFT drop live on the stream too. Okay, so that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so the more people learn about blockchain. And if you're as fast at this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I should become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.